Hi everybody, this is Kelly Hernandez. I am going to show you the counting books, the 1, 2, 3 books that I picked out for this week's assignment. So I'm going to start off with 1, 2, 3 Peas by Keith Baker. And there's not an illustrator listed, so I think possibly it's illustrated by Keith Baker as well. I am not positive, to tell you the truth. But like I said, there's not a separate illustrator listed on this one. So, um, but this one, again, it is a counting book, and it is pretty simple. The purpose of this one is recognition. It is your basic number recognition book where it just has, like I said, this one's called 1, 2, 3 Peas. So in this book, on every page, it's kind of hard to see on here, but there's these little characters or the peas, and on every page with the numbers, there's peas to count. So these cute little peas are on here. So you have number 1, and you have the word 1, and the big number 1, and then you have one little pea. And then for 2, you have the word 2, and the big number 2, and then 2 little peas on there. And the same with 3, of course, the word 3, the number 3, and then 3 little peas on there, and so on and so forth, of course. So this one's pretty cute. It's got cute little illustrations, but it doesn't go overboard, you know. It's pretty simple in the fact that it's easy to follow because since the child is always counting just the little character P's, there's no confusion as far as what they're supposed to be counting, or you won't get confused with like trying to count something else or anything. Even though there's other pictures on the page, you always know what you're trying to count. So this one does go through 1 through 10, and then I thought it was kind of interesting. It makes a jump then. um, it goes through all the teens, and it says 11 to 19, skip, 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 and then it counts by tens. It goes 20 and 30 and 40 and so on and so forth. So it counts by tens. So there's actually quite a bit to learn in this book. And it can actually be a little advanced for little kids. So it just depends on, when you'd want to show this. I mean, it is a board book, and obviously it's pretty simple for little kids with the basic numbers, but with it making the big jump to, 40 and 50 and 60 and so on and so forth, I mean, the book could last quite a while for some older kids. So, this one would be good, I think, for cognitive development. There's a lot to learn in this book. Like I said, the numbers go up pretty high. So, and uh, even when you get as high as 100, I'll have to show you really close here. But even when you get all the way up to 100, there are actually 100 little character P's on there. Trust me, because I counted them. So if you want to take the time, you can actually sit there and count them, and there's 100 of these little guys on there. So, I mean, a kid that wanted to sit there and spend the time and actually count, they are on there to do the counting. So, like I said, there's a lot you can learn from this book, and it's a fun little book to play with. Um, as far as literary elements, there there isn't really a whole lot of a plot, or necessarily a setting. It kind of changes page to page. They do have the characters, like I said, the P's are consistent through the story, there's not a lot of character development, of course, we're just doing numbers, and it's pretty basic, you're just counting the characters, but they do follow the same characters throughout the story. So that was that one, 1, 2, 3 P's. The second one I would like to show you is going to be Under the Sea, Counting Ocean Life, and this one is by Barbara Knox. And this one doesn't have an illustrator because it is one with real pictures of ocean life animals. So there are some photo credits, at the beginning of the book, which I'll skip reading those because there's several photo credits, but they're listed at the beginning of the book. And this one basically, this one is an informative counting book because it basically has on each page there, like, we'll start at the beginning, there's the number 1, and it says 1 sea star moves slowly under the sea. With 2 feet, the star can stick to rocks and coral. So, and then you see the picture of the sea star over here. So, you get the number 1, and they get to count that there's 1 sea star, but then they also get to learn a little fact about sea stars. So you get a little bit of everything with this book. And then on the next page, it's the number 2, and there's 2 dolphins, and it says 2 dolphins look sleek and smooth. Dolphin skin feels rubbery. And then on page 3, we have 3 sea turtles swim a long way to nest. Sea turtles lay eggs on sandy beaches. And you have 3 pictures of sea turtles. So, and that's the way this book continues. It keeps adding on extra animals. So there's animals to count on every page, and then the numbers go up. I can't remember how far they went up on this one. I think just to 10. Yeah, so they go all the way up to 10. And like I said, you learn little facts about the animals on this one. So this is another one that my girls really liked to look through. This one's really good for cognitive development and language development. You learn a lot, and there's some new words that kids won't be familiar with on there, so it'll be a good chance to learn new vocabulary words and things like that in this book. There is not really a plot to this one, since it's more just fact-based. And again, there's not really any setting or characters with this one, since it's just kind of a counting book and just going from page to page. It just kind of switches on each page with the facts about animals. So there's not a lot of specific literary elements to this one, but it's a fun little book to read. So the last counting book that I have to show you is called Christopher Counting by Valery Gorbachev. This one is a cute story about Christopher Rabbit and how he goes to school and learns how to count, and then he just wants to count everything at home. So it starts out, I'll read the first couple pages just so you kind of get an idea of how the story goes. Children, today we are going to learn how to count, said Miss Goat. She held up 10 oranges one at a time. Repeat after me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, repeated all the children in the class. All day long the class counted. Christopher Rabbit loved the idea of counting. I can count everything, he said after school was over. 1, 2, 3, 4, he practiced as he walked home. We learned how to count today, Christopher said to Mother Rabbit when she greeted him at the door. Look, 1, 2 notebooks, 2, 3 pencils, 4, 5, 6 crowns. He counted everything in his backpack. And this one just keeps going through as he's playing with his friends and going through his room and going through everything in his book or going through everything in his room and his backpack and everything, and he basically just counts everything in sight because he loves counting so much. So the purpose of this book is it's a narrative book, but it's also good for learning to count because it does have so much number repetition in there. Even though there's not a breakdown of counting pages like in the other counting books, with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that kind of thing, there is so much repetition in there that you get a lot of number practice with this book. So it'd be a good one for young students to get a chance to hear the numbers repeated to them over and over and over, and still hear a fun story at the same time. So I think this one would be good for probably for cognitive and language development as well, and maybe honestly, maybe even personality development. For the literary elements, this one, of course, does have a plot. Like I said, it's about Christopher Rabbit and his desire to count everything he comes across, and how much he loves counting. And the setting takes place in his school, and then at his home, and then also around his home, like in the forest around his home, while him and his friends are playing hide and seek. And the characters are him and his teacher and his friends. So there's quite a few elements to this story. This one is super cute. I think this would be a lot of fun for younger grades, especially. But this one, I'll be perfectly honest, I was a little hesitant about counting it as a counting book, just because it didn't have the breakdown of the numbers on every single page, but I decided I wanted to qualify it as a counting book just because there was so much number repetition. So I really liked this one a lot. I thought it was kind of stepping outside of the box a little bit as far as counting it as a counting book. So that one was my last counting book, Christopher Counting. So those are all my counting books. I hope you guys liked them. Thank you so much.